Welcome, my name is Rida Chebet Kering. Aganao Party presidential candidate David Mwaure Wahiga on Monday launched his manifesto detailing the plans he has should Kenyans elect him to the country's top seat come August 9th. Should he and his running mate Ruth Mutua ascend to power in August, Mwaure has pledged to increase revenue allocation to counties to 40%, designate 10% of the 40% to go directly to the village councils. In his plan for Kenyan workers, he has pledged a general waiver of 50% payee, as well as a conducive environment for the private sector, individuals and others to set up businesses in a bid to boost entrepreneurship. Bushebi Jr. with more.
Oh, you want more photos?
Aganao Party presidential candidate David Mwaure Wahiga on Monday launched his manifesto detailing the plans he has should Kenyans elect him to the country's top seat come August 9th.
We are in this race because about 59 years back in the early 60s, Kenya was in the Commonwealth or at the level with some other nations. And I'll mention nations we keep mentioning: Singapore, South Korea. They were not even better than us. We used to lend them money.
Dubbed Badilisha, English for change, Agano's manifesto makes the proposition of starting from a clean slate and is anchored on 12 Aganos or pledges.
In the last 20 years, including the last 5 and the last 10, we have lost in this Kenya. It's somewhere, it's not completely lost. Not less than 60 trillion Kenya shillings. And we'll tell you how.
These are Agano to the Constitution, the family, women, youth, persons living with disability, county governments, workers, business owners, the economy, religious institutions, the environment, as well as Agano to the international community. Should he and his running mate Ruth Mutua ascend to power in August, David Mwaure has pledged to increase revenue allocation to counties to 40%, designate 10% of the 40% to go directly to the village councils.
That out of whatever we give to the counties, a minimum of 50 million shillings per annum, that's minimum, should go to the lowest unit without question. It doesn't have to be decided by the county assembly. No, to the lowest unit of the county, which is known as a village council. In other places, it's almost like a mtaa. And the youth there, together with their parents, the elders, the religious people, the teachers will sit down and decide in this area. For instance, we are in a part of Nairobi where we probably are in the Kilereshwa village. That's the lowest. And decisions are made here. We shall want people to decide at that level how to use, and we are saying at least a minimum of that.
Mr. Mwaure intends to convene a task force to study the possibilities of dissolving Nairobi County after these elections so that post-2027 Nairobi governor can be an appointee of the president after elections and an automatic member of the cabinet. In his plan for Kenyan workers, he has pledged a general waiver of 50% pay as you earn, as well as a conducive environment for the private sector, individuals, and others to set up businesses in a bid to boost entrepreneurship.
From the first day of our being in office, actually in our opening speech, we shall officially reduce the pay that's paid by Kenyans by 50% to enable Kenyans have some money with themselves, be able to meet their expenses. We shall waive tax penalties that will have accrued until the day we are sworn. We are determined to stop the hemorrhage of what was reported as shillings 2 billion, which we are calling 5 billion.
The biting economy state is also in his manifesto, and the aspirant plans to move the Asset Recovery Agency to the presidency, devolve budgeting to the village councils as opposed to the Treasury or State House Budget Office, and go after the big fish of corruption and ensure they are subjected to the due process of the law. Mwaure further intends to create a legal framework that will ensure public sector audit general reports are prima facie evidence in abuse of office and misappropriation of funds.
By own estimates, as presidential candidate and through our party, this is what we think, not what they have been telling us, but we start from where they have been telling us. That in the last 5 years, we Kenyans have lost from corruption, both the hard and soft. We are distinguishing the hard and soft corruption, about Kenya shillings 10 trillion. Our rate of calculation has been 5 billion per day, not 2 billion. That's their figures. Those are the figures that His Excellency the President was told by the people who have been stealing. So take it, start from the premise he was not told the truth. That also must have been corruption that is just within government. We were not told about the other corruptions and the soft corruption. This in 10 years translates to, let me use that, and even if it's not 10, 20 trillion, you and I don't have to go far to guess for a nation like this that we could have lost as much as that money. This is to corruption. I'm talking about the daily corruption. For us, we are using a rate of 5 billion. You can even use 3, and even if you use 2 trillion, you still find that in the last 10 years, we've lost about 10 trillion. That is payment one day, pap, of the external or the Chinese debt. One day lost in one day. 10 trillion, take even their 2 billion.
His government will also limit the total loan repayments by the government to 1 trillion Kenyan shillings. Additionally, all contracts with foreign entities starting with SGR, Nairobi Expressway, Mombasa, Lamu, Naivasha and Kisumu ports will be made public under his administration. The Aganao government has also promised to create an office for the registrar of families and use the data collected for the Huduma number to refocus government planning to be family-centered. Mr. Mwaure will ensure that each registered family has at least one person who is employed and roll out the universal health care coverage program based on disease and demography. Priority will be given to cancer, accident victims and all forms of medical or non-elective surgery. He has further promised to waive medical bills for any person who dies in a government hospital. Furthermore, old persons above 70 years will get access to free medical services. In a bid to enhance the security of the country, Mr. Mwaure's administration intends to equip the security sector and make it a place of pride to serve. They also will introduce community policing starting from the village council level. Similarly, Mr. Mwaure has promised to implement the 2/3 gender rule in all appointive positions and enhance access to government procurement opportunities, reservation to youth, women, and people living with disability quota to 40%. Under their pledge to business owners, his administration has promised to verify all county and national government pending bills and convert them to government bonds.
They'll be remunerated for those services.
For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Wishabe Jr.
One of our competitors has said